So for your next training video, I'm going to show you how to document services and referrals for your client. So the first thing that you want to do is select your Enter Data As program. So since our client is currently enrolled in the Homeless Prevention Program, we're going to click the green plus sign next to the Legal Services of AL Homeless Prevention Provider. All right, we can go ahead and go to our client's HMIS record. All right, so we are going to be working in the Service Transactions tab. So go ahead and click on Service Transactions. And what we see here is just a couple of dashlets. So you can add needs, you can add services, multiple services, referrals. There's an eligibility search module, previous service transactions, shelter stays, and then entire service history for your client. So for this video, I'm just going to show you how to document services that you provide to your client. So when I talk about services, I'm talking about maybe you were able to transport your client. So you want to document that transportation service. Or you paid a security deposit for your client and you want to be able to document that service as well. So we're going to click Add Service. And since, you can select whoever the service was actually provided to. If it was just provided to the primary client, then you would only leave that checkbox marked. But if it was provided to the entire household, you can select the entire household. But for this particular example, I'm just going to apply the service to the primary client. So you will be able to update the date for when you actually provided the service. We can leave it as today's date. We'll say that we provided a security deposit, or maybe you were able to pay some rental arrears for your client so they can remain in their house. Or maybe you were able to provide some legal fees for the client who is going through an eviction. And that service was provided today. So as far as the time goes, we do set the time for these services to 9 o'clock a.m. So remember, we set our entries to 8 o'clock a.m. and we set our service transactions to 9 o'clock a.m. for the same reason, just so we make sure we can capture all of this information in our reports. And then for the service type, you're going to click on this drop-down menu and you'll just select whichever service you have provided for your client. And these are all of the quick service types. If you don't see the service that you're looking for, you can click on this lookup and it'll pull up the AIRS taxonomy codes. And you could do a search for the code, either the code containing whatever word you put in the search bar or beginning with whatever code you put in the search bar. So, but for this video, we're going to select rent payment or eviction prevention legal assistance. That's what we're going to provide to our client for this training video. So for provider specific service, you can just leave that blank and we'll click Save and Continue. Alrighty, so at this point, while you are in the service, you can provide any service notes that are important for your records. So maybe if you want to document what company you provided the eviction payment to, how much you provided, and maybe the check number, that could be some things that would be helpful for your records. So this is just an example of what I would do if I were a case manager wanting to document this financial component. And then for service costs, you would set it for 1, since you're providing 1 prevention legal fee. So 1 check basically, and then the cost right there. And then down here, you can set yourself a follow-up if you need to. You don't have to. And then for the need information, so if you have already provided the service, then you can go ahead and close the need out and then set the outcome of the need. So we're going to go ahead and say this need has been fully met. We've already provided the check to the company and the fee has been paid and this service has been completed. So we'll go ahead and click Save and Exit. And that's how you document a service. So service transactions include needs, services, referrals, shelter stays. So a service is a service transaction. A referral is a service transaction. Just wanted to clarify that. So we're going to provide one more service. So I just want to show you a new view. I'm going to click on Entire Service History. So this way you can see the service that we just provided is actually attached to a need. So all service transactions will have a need automatically created to go with them. So based off of this one need, you can add additional services and referrals. So I'm going to add let's add a referral to this eviction prevention legal assistance. So you can click right here on this need, this little envelope that says Add Referrals. And so maybe we need to refer this client to a company for eviction prevention legal assistance. So you'll just highlight this service code and click Add Terms. And then you're going to select one of these providers that you are sending your client to. Now, for these referrals that you're making in this database, these are basically just fake providers. You will still have to actually call the company yourself and make that connection. You're basically just documenting that you've made a referral for your client. So let's say we are sending our client to Consumer Credit Counseling for eviction prevention legal assistance. So once you select that provider, you'll click Add Provider here, and it will appear right here in the selected provider. And then for this referral data, go ahead and update the time to 9:00 a.m., just like we did for this service. You can add a follow-up if you need to. As far as referral ranking, you can just ignore that. If you do add a follow-up, it will automatically be set to yourself. So it'll appear on your dashboard. So maybe if you want to follow up with your client to see how the meeting went. So maybe if the meeting is on the 4th with Consumer Credit Counseling, you can follow up with your client on the 7th to see how the meeting went, and that'll appear on your dashboard. So now you just want to make sure that you click on this checkbox. This will connect your client to the provider that we're referring them to. And the need has already been set to 9:00 a.m. whenever we created that original service. And it's already been closed and fully met. So we can click Save All. So now if we go back to the Entire Service History tab, we can see the referral that we just created and the service that we just created, and those are attached to this need. So yeah, that's basically how you create services and referrals. So I'll create one more service for you that doesn't have a financial component attached to it. So you can either click on this Services tab and click Add Service, or you can go back to your dashboard and click Add Service from there. So I'm just going to stick with this right here. I'm going to say that we transported our client to a meeting. So the first thing I'm going to do is update the time to 9:00 a.m. And then I don't see my transportation service type. So I'm just going to click Look Up. I'm going to leave it as containing, and then I'm just going to do a search for transportation. But I'm going to spell it right. Spell it right. Come on, Lori. There we go. Okay. There we go. Alright, so I'm just going to look for transportation. It's in alphabetical order, so maybe I'll change my search to beginning with instead of containing. Maybe it'll pull it up quicker. There we go. So there's transportation. So I'm just going to click Select. It'll appear right here. And then I'm going to click Submit. So now my service type is set to transportation, and I'll click Save and Continue. So in your service, again, you can add the service notes that may help you with your records. So maybe case manager transported client to resume building class, or whatever. It could be anything. This is just for training purposes on how to actually document the service. But it's always good to date and initial all of your notes, case notes, service notes, anything. So since this does not have a cost associated with it, it was just a transportation service, we're going to leave this blank. And then down at the bottom, again, you can add a follow-up if you'd like. You don't have to. And then I'm going to go ahead and close this out as closed and fully met. And save and exit. Then I'll go back to view entire service history just so you can see what it looks like. So here's the service we just documented, and you can see again it has a need that automatically attaches itself to the service that you add. And that's how you add services and referrals.